Greetings and salutations. I hope everyone is still doing well and welcome to this night ending bonus upload. Before we jump on into it, a couple quick links. As many of you may know, I rely on Patreon, PayPal, channel membership, and the merch to help the channel to continue to grow and go. Links to Patreon, PayPal, and channel membership is in the description below. Merch displayed directly under the video. Also, Dogman, Frightening Encounters, Volume 1 through 3, the audiobook versions. They were written and researched by Tom Lyons, narrated and produced by me, Jeff Nadolny. These audiobooks are available on Audible, Amazon, and iTunes, links to which are also in the description as well. And finally, last but definitely not least, if you'd really like to help support the channel to continue to grow and go, simply subscribe. It does not cost a cent. Click that like button. It takes half a second. If you don't want to miss out on any of the informative uploads that I put out daily, click the bell icon, and folks, please leave a comment and share the video. Why? Well, because these things really do help the channel to continue to grow and go. They definitely do matter, and they are appreciated. And with that, I have taken far too much of your time. Let's jump in to this night ending bonus upload, shall we? So this information that was passed along was pretty mind-blowing, and one subscriber led me to where I needed to look. Another shared more information about like cultural worship almost of Dogman in Hawaii. And another one shared an encounter with these dog people that live in the backside of this island of Oahu. Just mind-blowing. So Keup, the Olohi Dogman of New Uano. One night each month it is said that an eerie white mist appears along the highest peak of the Ko'olu Mountains. Those who have bore witness to this manifestation say that the mist slowly rises into the form of a menacing dog. On those nights, wise travelers avoid crossing through the Nuenu to avoid the malicious Olohi Dogman that roams the valley. Foreign travelers in the 19th century claimed to have seen this phenomenon and noted that when the figure appeared, the neighborhood dogs would wail and howl until it disappeared. Kapuna from the area used to say that the apparition is that of a cruel supernatural dog man named Keup, who once ruled Nuanu and who continues to haunt its forests and trails to this day. Supernatural dogs have long been a part of native Hawaiian tradition, stories, or mo'elu. After all, dogs traveled with their Polynesian ancestors across the Pacific for thousands of years. In Hawaii, it was long held custom amongst families to keep dogs for companionship, hunting, and even as a food source, but dogs were also said to have special abilities. Some of the old folk said that dogs would see spirits, and that if one were to mix dog mucus with specific herbs, that concoction would enable them to see beyond what an ordinary human would see. Many chiefs tattooed their bodies with dog-related images. Dogs also acted as guardians, or Ayumaku, family gods. Some of the Aku could take the Kinu Lao body form of a dog, particularly Ku and launau. The dog forms in clouds were seen as omens. Due to this connection with the gods and our ancestors, hula and hiua temples dedicated to supernatural dogs do exist. Hawaiian Moelo also speaks of supernatural dogs, sometimes called dogmen. They were described as being hairless, but their skin was often dark red or brindled. Because they were hairless, they were referred to as the Olohi. On Maui, they were called the Ha'alo people, supposedly based on their stature. Their faces had a visage of dog, but their bodies were human. They were known to have supernatural abilities, including shape-shifting, and therefore were classified as Kapua, or demigods. In a little-known version of the legend of the Kalulu, Lono Ku defeats the dangerous Kapua at Kaluai, hurling and smashing its body. This Olohi Kapua became the Islet, which is the alternative name and origin story for the Mokolai Island, wrongly referred to as Cinnamon's Hat by most people today. Historian Samuel Kamuku records that dog people, or dog men, Kapua, Q Iloi, came from Kahiki and pierced the Akua at Kaloe, and some traditions were seen as manifestation of Ku, while others claim he was a shapeshifter. In either case, he was a protector of travelers in the Waiani. According to different Molio, the Olohi dog people lived in caves dug from sand hills. Many of these Kalu Olohi, or caves where the Olohi once lived, were said to be in an area known today as a wee beach. Some Olohi also lived in the Kalua, Maui. The dog Olohi should not be confused with the class of skilled warriors within Hawaiian martial art of Lua, so-called because they plucked their hair and greased their bodies for combat, although dog Olahi were also known for their wrestling skills. So the Olahi would be dogmen, all right? In fact, dog Olahi are from a different genealogy. The Kumulipo records the birth of the Olahi as the people of wagging tails in the 5th Wa. The Kumulipo also seems to associate the Olahi with places where spirits roam. Brindled dogs were said to be Olahi, or possessed their power. Brindled and hairless dogs were additionally held in Kapu by devotees of Pele and known as Ilo Mo. A tale from Oahu speaks of the Ilimo named Pe, who was saved from the village feast by a woman with reddish-brown hair. The woman is said to have been Pele herself. In the 18th century, it was claimed that King Keikili of Maui had a division of dog-headed Alohi, which must have been fearsome sight on the battlefield. When the Alapa of Hawaii sent messengers to Maui, they landed and found the Olahi people. The messengers took one look and went back to their canoes and moved on to Oahu, near the Panahu. There used to be a pit named after the Olahi, into which an Olahi could disappear if being pursued by a chief. Martha Beckwith, in her work Hawaiian Mythology, records that eyewitnesses, including non-Hawaiians, have claimed to have seen dog-headed warriors with tails among the spirit ranks of the Hukupo, or night marchers, marching alongside their other fallen comrades. But within most Moloa, the Olahi tend to be skilled robbers and tricksters, as well as powerful warriors. The most famous of the Olahi was Kapu. Kapu grew up in the Lehu, Oahu, which is where Schofield Barracks is today. He is described in written Moluhu and oral traditions to have the body of a man and the head of a brindled with black and red stripes. In time, he became so powerful that he overthrew the government and installed himself as high chief. Kapu was a cruel and evil chief. He terrorized the people of Oahu and Maui, including indulging in cannibalism without provocation. Kapu plotted to kidnap the son of the chief of the Hawaiian island and offer him as a sacrifice, a decision that would ultimately lead to his own demise. Horrified by the kidnapping, the father followed the Kapu to Oahu and rescued his son. There he consulted with the great seer. Today, this location is Kahiki, is in ruins, but at one time it served as a paramount temple on Oahu for soothsayers. The temple was built by Menhu, with whom there was a special friendship. Kaluna taught the father two prayers. One, to make Kapu fall into a deep sleep, and the second was to defeat the Kapu. They gave the chief a specific instruction to advise him that in order to work, the prayer to defeat the Kapu could not be chanted on the island of Oahu. The father carefully memorized the prayers and waited for nightfall. As the night grew deep and the shadows dark, he began chanting the sleeping prayer. As he approached the wall of Kapu compound, Kapu soon fell asleep into a trance-like sleep. With Kapu unconscious, the chief was able to penetrate the compound without opposition and quickly found and freed his son. As the pair escaped into the forest, Kapu, suddenly awakened. Upon realizing what had just happened, he raced into the forest after them, intending to hunt them down. But Kapu's mind was clouded by the Kealuna's chant, and which allowed the father and son to evade the Kapu and hide in the Monalua Valley until they were able to secure their return to the Hawaiian island. Outraged about being tricked, Kapu relentlessly pursued the chief and his son across the ocean to their home on Hawaii Island, whereupon a fierce battle ensued. Although they were valiant fighters, the chief's men were no match for the Dogman. As the weary defenders began to succumb to the Kapu's superior fighting skill, the chief remembered the chant to defeat the Kapu that was given to him. In the midst of the battle, the chief began to chant. His voice rose urgently, piercing the surrounding chaos, and as he prayed, the tide of the battle shifted. The Kapu lost the advantage, and his supernatural strength diminished, allowing the chief and his men to subdue and kill the wicked Dogman. The Kapu did not die entirely because Kapu was a kupua, or spirit, and his spirit was able to leave his body before being killed and flew back to the Nuuanu Valley, where the story says he continues to roam the forest to this day. Modern urban legends claim the Kayup's voice can still be heard, luring unsuspecting hikers and travelers to venture into the dangerous areas of the forest. It is said that the voice of this malevolent spirit can imitate an old man or a child and is accompanied by an unusual stillness, which should serve as a warning. It is also said that he can appear as a mist and slowly create shadow figures resembling the Kayup Olahi Dogman form. During the construction of the Nuuanu Pali tunnels, special protocols were conducted to ward off Kayup and other hostile spirits to prevent them from harming the crew workers which were building the tunnels. It is perhaps in this vein that the Kupuna, who traveled over the mountains through the Nuuanu Valley in days long past, left numerous petroglyphs on the cliffs and along trails as offering to the land to acknowledge supernatural elements that operate in this place that we may not see, but that we must respect. All right, so that is the legend of the Dog Man, the Olahi, and there was the chief, the who was just evil, the Kayup. This chief was so evil that when he was permanently a dog man, but had tattoos on his arms and such. This was given to me by one of the subscribers who just, gave me some native information. Because even though Hawaii is a state, the native Hawaiians really don't share their information too much with outsiders or people of the 49 states. So anyway, the person that shared all this with me, that's all set. Now, the experience, this is where things get weird. One of the subscribers actually lived in the Schofield Barracks, which is a military installation. Now, while living in the barracks, they had like a leave or a break, and they went to the Iwa Forest. Now, remember I'd said the Iwa Beach, that was part of that whole legend and stuff. Well, this Iwa Forest Reserve is a beautiful hiking area. Now, this gentleman had gone hiking. It was like his leave, day off, week off, or whatever. And he had been out just relaxing. He had been in this area quite a few times. There's some waterfalls that lead or that create these kind of tide pools, almost like about the size of a very large hot tub, he said. And he was hiking and he kept seeing something out of the corner of his eye as he was hiking. And these trails are treacherous. You can look it up. These Iwa forest trails are very treacherous. There's some that are, I guess, moderate, but the majority of them are treacherous. As he's walking, he keeps seeing shadows or something going off to the side of him. And he is just kind of like, yeah, maybe it's maybe my mind's playing tricks on me. It's in my periphery. I'm not, he's kind of just trying to dismiss it because there are no, large animals. This man is white. He's not native to Hawaii. So he doesn't know the lore, the mythology, the myths and stuff. Well, he gets to where he has been a couple of different times prior, and he's gonna just rest, hang out for a little bit, and enjoy his day off, and hike back to where he parked and drive back to Schofield Barracks, which is like kind of a city of itself. And he's sitting there, and he keeps hearing this like kind of echoey noise, almost like someone was calling him. And he's just like, well, he's in the military, so he doesn't drink, he doesn't do drugs, he's sober. He does drink, but he wasn't drinking at the time. He was sober. And he's like, what am I hearing? Is it the wind? Is it, something going on? He's heard of ceremonies going on in woods before, or in the forests before, but nothing like this. So he starts walking towards where he hears this kind of, not chanting, but calling. And he realizes that it's dead still, just dead silent. And he, at that point, realizes, hey, back home in America, on the 49 states, on the continental. I apologize for that noise. That was my hand. I was talking with my hand, and I whacked my soda can and spilt it. So I apologize. Anyway, he realizes that it's dead still, dead silent, and he's like on the continental United States where he's from while out hunting. He's from North Carolina. That means there's a predator. But he's like, what kind of predator is out here? And he realizes, hey, now it's time to go. Something's going on. And he starts walking back out. Well, as he's walking back out, he follows the trail that he followed in. He starts, looking around. But then he starts to kind of just get calm again, and as he's walking, he's looking at the waterfall. It's a very small waterfall, nothing major, but not huge, but it's a tranquil area. And he sees something kind of go behind this ledge, and he thought that it was another person, like a person walking. And he kind of stopped for a second until he realized that it had a head of a dog. Not a German Shepherd either. He compared it to almost like a jackal. And he immediately started to just run out of there as quickly and safely as he could. When he gets back to where he parks, he drives out of there and doesn't say a lick to anyone. Crazy enough, he then, moves back to the States and just never talks about it. Has listened to my channel and a couple other channels about Dogman. And then when I had spoken to this guy before, because he had actually asked me a question in the comment section. And he had mentioned that he had lived in Hawaii. And anybody that I have ever talked to via email or phone, I write their information in a notebook so I have it for later if I ever need to talk to anyone again. So I reached out during this whole looking into all this dog men or dog people of Oahu. And he never wanted to share this. And he said, I will only share it with you, Jeff, but I don't know what, if it was, like what we see in America, like on continental United States, or like he said, or like the information said, if it was some kind of shapeshifter, some kind of shaman, some kind of whatever, which is interesting because I've said this just recently a lot. And I got that saying from looking into this, actually. In the continental United States, there are caves and cave art, thousands of years old, different people, different tribes, different clans, whatnot, that all have something very similar drawn, whether it be a dog-like creature or just a large kind of abomination like a Bigfoot. And that's when I say, hey guys, how can we deny the existence of these things when worldwide there is cave art and petroglyphs of these creatures thousands of years old? Now, doing all this research, I was like, a lot of these Polynesian magic fits into Native American shamanism. So, I mean, there's connections. And then we hear about Alexander the Great stepping foot, I believe, I think it was Alexander the Great, or either Eric the Red, or a Viking, that had actually traveled to a Polynesian island and met face to face with Dogman warriors. Which I don't know why I didn't look into that more and piece this together, So now let's get to the strangeness of it all. That there are numerous hikers that have gone missing in Oahu, in this area. So Chase Ingalls, Thomas Lockhart, and a gentleman named Moses Gardner have all disappeared while hiking in Oahu, and Kyle Britton as well. This is just a couple of hikers that went missing in recent times that are listed. And I believe a while ago I was watching Mr. Ballin, probably 2, maybe 3 years ago, and he was talking about a hiker that was in Hawaii, in Oahu, and he was in a forbidden place. And apparently there were cameras set up, or he had taken a photo of where he was going with his cell phone, and he had caught in some kind of picture off in the distance. And I'm actually, as I'm recording this, I'm remembering this right now. So this was not going to be part of the upload, this part about Mr. Ballin. But he had taken this picture of where he was at, and a couple of people on Instagram, I believe, spotted some kind of humanoid in the distance. They, of course, thought it was a guy, a man, because it's human-like, but you really couldn't see the whole thing. You couldn't see a face. You couldn't see, you could just make out a body. That's how far off in the distance it was, but it was visible. Could that have been one of these dog people, one of these Olahi, or could it have been the Kapu? or Kayup, excuse me. It was really difficult I sat with Google pronunciation trying to learn how to pronounce all of these Hawaiian Polynesian words, and it was quite hard. And I do apologize for mispronouncing anything. But the important thing is all this time, people are like, hey, where has not a dogman been sighted? And I'd be like, Hawaii. Yet there is a huge lore about these dogmen of Hawaii, of Oahu. I find it very interesting, and I find it crazy that I didn't put, because I do remember, I believe it was, I know Alexander Great had run across some sort of dogman warrior, but I believe it was a Viking, Eric the Red, something, whatever, that ran into, on a Polynesian island, dog-headed warriors as well. Man, this all blew me away. And I've been sitting on this information for 3 weeks now, waiting for one person to talk to me for a little bit to get as much information, like a local native, a native Hawaiian who shared some local legend with me, and then 2 men who are from the continental United States who were in Hawaii and had experienced or seen or heard of strange things. And then as I'm researching all this, I start to wonder, hey, I wonder about missing people, because it said about the hikers and stuff at the end of the information that I shared with you about the dogmen. Kayup, about the Kayup. And I was like, there's, if this information has an ounce of kind of whatever, then I'm guessing there's going to be at least one missing person, one missing hiker in that area. And instead, I just named off 4 within just recent time, So yeah, dogmen in Hawaii. How crazy is that, my friends? And there you have it, folks. I hope you all enjoyed this night ending bonus as much as I enjoyed sharing it with you. I'd like to thank you for supporting the channel. It is your support that helps the channel to continue to grow and go, and what gives us all a place and a chance to share our experiences and theories judgment-free. Everyone is simply treated with the respect that we deserve. Please, everyone, stay safe, happy, healthy, and ever vigilant, keeping an eye on our children, pets, family, and our friends. These creatures are real. These events have happened. Share this information with those you love and care about, and it may just help save their lives someday. Until next time, never stop asking questions, never stop searching for the truth, and God bless you all.